But in between is going to be a very important game, Optimus Gang against Insignem. I believe if Optimus Gang drop here, they're just out. That would mean everyone else has at least one win, and there's no more room for Optimus Gang to get a win if they go down 0-2, and it would come down to that decider match. So Optimus Gang fighting for their life, Insignem could shut Optimus Gang out right there with that win.
That's right. If Insignem win this next matchup, then Optimus Gang is out, and we only have one more set to go, because it would just be very simple. The winner of the Poppies versus Insignem would be the one going to land.
And if not, if Optimus Gang are able to grab the win here, then we're in a potential scenario where things get messy. If Poppies close out Game 3 and a World Optimus Gang win, then the Poppies just do it. They win out. They're 2-0. But if not, things get a little bit more messy, and we could be here for a while.
Basically, as long as the Poppies win the third set,
then it's easy.
Then it's over, one way or the other. I mean, regardless of the outcome of this game even, but if Insignem are able to find this win, they put themselves in a do-or-die spot against the Poppies, whereas then if they don't win this set, then it would have to be them playing to play again later on today.
Well, we just saw Optimus Gang, so let's talk a little bit about the team we haven't had a chance to see yet, right? Let's talk about this Insignem roster. And we've built them up a ton. They were the winners of the SML EU in spring. They lost at LAN. They were the winners again in summer. They win that LAN up against Very Nice to Me. So this is a team with a ton, I would say, behind them, kind of pushing them through a ton of experience, even competing in an actual LAN environment. And they've had to go through some changes, some players getting called up to the SPL, yes, but the core of this group, they still got DeathPanter there in the middle lane, right? They still have so many strong players that it's difficult even now to bet against this team.
LASBRA in the jungle, I think Zearoe has really come into his own in the solo lane and has really been a huge factor for this team and during the second half of this split. I think that Insignem, without Optimus Gang being at full strength, I think Insignem might be the best minor league team regardless of region. I think that they have the experience. They proved they were the best minor league team regardless of region during summer, and they took a little bit of a step back, very slightly, but I think a lot of it was just that other teams in their region, namely Optimus Gang, stepped up their game in the fall. Again, it's unfortunate what's transpired with Optimus Gang, where they can't have their jungler there with them, so we can see them at full strength during these playoffs. But I think that Insignem is a team that, in my mind, should be able to win not only this set, but even with the Poppies looking good, I think that it might take them 3 with how well the Poppies are playing.
Yeah.
But I expect Insignem to be the front runner still.
I think it's fair to consider them the favorites, but only like, what, 60-40 maybe, something like that, right?
Sure.
Poppies get a lot of credit, I think, with how hot they've been coming into this and just now taking down Optimus Gang. So that's for a later day. Insignem against Optimus Gang, that's the match we're going into right here, right now. Picks and bans, if we can get those going for game number 1. I mean, this is the big build matchup, right? This is the one that you really want to watch. And you were right to highlight LASBRA, I think. He's been playing so well for this team. Yes, they have DeathPanter there, who's very likely SPL caliber, right? We know he was there in Season 4 and Winter Worlds and all that. But this LASBRA guy really has stepped up for them in the jungle, a win condition in his own right, maybe even the first one you go to.
And he's so flexible. I mean, he can play the Pele or the Ratatosker, the early game snowball characters. He can play the Athena jungle and play the setup man for you. I mean, he's a versatile player that is also very clearly very, very confident in his own level of play. You can give him the full-on carry characters, give him the Circuit, and let him win the game for you by himself. I mean, he can really do it all out of the jungle, and I think that's why he's so difficult to play against.
Bakasura still being valued here in this set, and Signum going to take that one off the board along with the Odin. Remember, I think we saw support Odin last set even, so
we did.
A lot of places that could be going. I like Mercury Athena, though. Those are just good, strong picks right now. We still have the likes of Freya out there to worry about, though, right? Circuits, Chernobyls, Baron. Certainly ones that can get picked, but Erlang being prioritized, got to imagine that's going to the jungle.
I would assume so, yeah. I'd assume that's going over to LASBRA because, like I said, he can play basically everything. This does leave the door open, I think, for Zearoe to take this Erlang into the solo lane.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a particularly genetics pick for support, so I'd expect that this is either going to be on the right side of the map one way or the other, whether it's in jungle or in solo.
I like this Ama, though. Some of the picks that we've seen be really strong lately, Ama, Baron, we haven't seen much of these, but Amaterasu is so much pressure in lane, right? That she takes that aura, she's able to, with stacking up those auto attacks, you take so much extra damage on the back end of it, and really bully you out, even have a chance to go for camps. I like them prioritizing this Amaterasu this soon.
It's really to take away from Zearoe as well, I believe, who's played it a decent amount in the solo lane as of late, not even in support. Man, the European minor league is very, very set in the way that they see the meta. And they don't really value. Freya's good. Baron, not so much. We don't play a whole lot of him. Chernobog is okay. We'll pick him here and there. But Jingwei, got to get Jingwei every game. These guys are definitely very set in their meta. And I think that it can work right now in this playoff structure. I think if they come to Worlds with these picks and bans,
that's a good point.
They're going to be quick games because look, I get it. I know FDOT's a big proponent of, the meta is only the meta for X amount of time, and teams are there to break it and all this kind of stuff. There are gods that are really good right now, and if you don't even throw a ban their way, I mean, what? Chernobog gets banned, but that's about it.
No, I mean, it's the second phase. Right. An SPL team takes that.
Yeah, of course. Of course they do. So either the European minor league is way ahead of all the other regions, or they're lagging a bit behind.
Right. Well, it'll be one of those, and we'll certainly get a chance to see. We don't see much Thoth lately nowadays, so he'll be coming through very likely in the middle lane for them. A nice strong comp from Insignem here. Sylvanus and Artio. That's a ton of control in these fights. Even Erlang for that credit. Jing weighs plenty of damage, and so is Thoth from long range. This is tough to deal with. But I don't know. Susano, they already have the Artio. Couldn't he certainly struggle into that matchup?
Yeah, that's surprising that we see the Susano into the Artio. And I really don't like the Thoth. I don't think Thoth is particularly strong in this meta right now.
He hasn't looked good lately, no.
DeathPanter's still been playing him a decent amount and has looked good with it. If they can get him off to a good start alongside LASBRA on this Erlang Shen, then it'll look great for Insignem. But Insignem's early game is excellent. In outside of the mid lane, and that's kind of their safety valve. I think I would have preferred to see them just double down and say, we're going to pick something a little bit, well, pick an ISIS in that spot. We're just going to beat you up in the first 25 and not worry about after that. I don't know that DeathPanter, if this game goes late, is going to be enough to keep it in Insignem's favor.
Definitely keep your eyes on this Artio, man. Sobek, Agni, Susano could all potentially struggle around that cripple field. That's one to follow. But if they can stay away from this Artio, Optimus Gang have a ton of control at their disposal, and Artemis Agni to follow up. So it's very scary. It just depends, I think, a lot on this Artio. We'll end up seeing how it works here.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be in the solo lane as well.
Yeah, it does
seem Sylvanus. So it's a little bit different than what we've seen more in the SPL as of late.
Let's go ahead and get right into the action. I believe it's Hindu and Taco standing by. Insignem and Optimus Gang, game one.
Thank you so much, Mr. Finch. Yes, it is. It's myself and Taco bringing you this one. Insignem versus Optimus Gang. Taco, Optimus Gang have to win this, otherwise they're going to be out of contention.
It's sink or swim right now for Optimus Gang, and they know it. With everything coming down to the line, you just have to expect that these players have a little bit of confidence here, or at least that's what I'd imagine to be the case for Fisher, taking that Susano into the composition that Insignem have opted for.
Interesting start as well there. You saw Optimus Gang was deep into Insignem's jungle, but Insignem very wisely placed a couple of early wards down for a bit of vision, make sure there's no cheeky shenanigans at the start of this one, and the position from Insignem really shows that. Just holding the alcoves, making sure there's no proxies going on, nothing too crazy, so it shows Insignem are just happy to want to play this one straight.
It makes sense, because with Zearoe on the Artio, it's not exactly the greatest objective or buff control and clear. I think that Sibi does have a reasonable chance at stealing something away with the Sickening Strike, which is what I am expecting to be starting with as this solo Sobek.
Talking a little bit more, though, about the composition, the Despots breaking down the Artio pick being a key component here for Insignem. Do you feel the same way?
I think that the Artio is going to be the difference maker in this team composition, if anything. Fusify, looking for a purple buff invade, will be unsuccessful. It's already fallen incredibly low, but it's still looking to box a bit here with Genetics and Joshy. Eats more than he bargained for, though, in terms of health bar exchange.
Yeah, surprised he did that. Although the experience share basically just keeps Fusify down more than anything else. Kespainify got most of the wave on his own, so he will hit level 2 a little bit quicker. However, Amaterasu at level 1 a little bit, well, you would like a little bit more over at this stage. Now the first wave, they're great for the boxing match, but now is a bit of a deficit in the dual lane for Optimus Gang.
Going back to that Artio discussion, though, it's just that Zearoe has the potential to essentially shut down a lot of Optimus Gang's initiation. We're looking mostly towards Sibi and Fisher, I think, for the initiating factors here of Optimus. And if Sobek's unable to really pluck or even work around with the tail whip and have decent survivability, then what's to stop Joshy and DeathPanter from just controlling the front line from Optimus Gang so heavily that they never really get a chance to let their backline freecast?
Yeah, Insignem's composition together is really strong. I like the level of backline versus frontline they've got for themselves as well, including Joshy with that little bit of self-peel on the Jing way, going to be impactful. But here's some pressure onto Kespainify, who loses half his health bar again. Got a couple of potions left over, however. Fusify trying to return the favor to Genetics and get some good poke off himself.
It's also just a really smart, all points addressed in this draft sort of situation here. Kespainify
latest beats,
but the knockup of Sinka's, just a couple more in-hats could secure it, and Genetics is still going to keep looking.
He got it! Genetics from downtown! He looped it up and found the kill. The beads from Kespainify were just so late. The pull had already happened. And then the beads after the fact didn't prevent the root or the knock-up because it'd be used. Another pull from Genetics. Another root. Fusify out of mana. The dual lane for Insignem are having a field day here so far.
And this is exactly what I was just touching on. It's the healthy spread of damage at all stages of the game that Insignem have touched base with. You've got Genetics on the Sylvanus to help compensate for Joshy having a slightly weaker laning phase on the Jing way. And now with that first blood also, I think Genetics on Sylvanus can afford to play a little bit more aggressively here because of the fact that it's Kespainify on the Artemis. Artemis can really struggle with this Sylvanus matchup because if she tries to auto-attack him down, she runs the risk of rooting herself in place off of Sylvanus' passive.
Yeah.
And it's just difficult to avoid that Wrath of Terror to begin with.
Well, the one thing as well is what you wanted to see in a Sylvanus, if your first pull lands, you're going to have a good game. That's what a lot of Sylvanus, it's all about feel with Sylvanus, of landing these pulls, and he's found 2 in a row. Meanwhile, DeathPanter solo killing mid lane. Are you serious? At this level, at this important match, Optimus Gang do not look themselves here.
LASBRA still looking to give chase. Genetics even going to pop the sprint for good measure, but nothing more of it's going to come about except for red buff invade, and Insignem already took down the purple buff from Optimus Gang. Now they'll get red for free because FaraKrik was sent back to base at such an unfortunate period for his team.
Already 1,200 gold in the lead, and Signum then with these 2 kills and a couple of invades to their name too. A little bit of a gallop into the lead then for Insignem at this moment in time. They are a team, though, Insignem, that don't really lose leads too often, Taco, if they can establish one.
The problem is letting a team like Optimus Gang have a lead to begin with because these players are simply too experienced by
Insignem,
now.
yeah.
I honestly think that this is a team that people have been talking about as being a viable contender for the bottom-seeded SPL teams even.
Definitely.
And when you have that sort of team image going for yourselves, then Optimus Gang, they're playing into that. They know that they're the underdogs coming into this situation.
Sure.
So to already have experienced 2 deaths and the complete loss of their duo side jungle, that's some rough stuff to try and handle.
Especially when you look at the 3 kills that have happened to Optimus Gang so far. There's been mention of Fisher having to sub in for Johnny here. But FaraKrik dying in a 1v1 scenario in mid. Duo lane losing out too. That's nothing down to the jungler. That's just laning phase so far. Heads of Optimus Gang dropped a little bit. We need to pick it up though.
It's not Fisher's fault, but he'll certainly feel the repercussions of his team. That's without a doubt because he's already having to play off of barely getting these back harpies in that dual lane side. But you have to just picture it as Fisher only having one part of the map that he can look to farm out, and even then he's splitting it.
Gets a taunt off on Fusify, knocks him up too. Good CC chain, another CC chain. Next comes another route after the fact. Fusify wasn't even playing then. He took his hands off the keyboard because he couldn't do anything.
Level
Poor
4,
guy.
Amaterasu, without that dazzling offense, there's no way for him to try and escape. It is a little bit odd that he chose to pan deeper into his jungle as opposed to towards the T2 tower, but maybe you just felt like that escape path had already been cut off by Joshy and LASBRA.
This is a good start for Insignem though. 3-0 already. Invading the red buff again. Looks like that was successful. Genetics may get caught and punished for this though. No ultimate to escape, but levels for the extra health is keeping him alive. Ultimate used by GetFisher looking for the tree, but the tree still is alive.
And Fusify still isn't level 5. Without level 5, he's not going to be able to do anything further to Genetics except for put himself now grossly out of position. Sibi still tunneling a little bit here. Almost tunneled.
Why is Sibi here?
Well, Zearoe doesn't care because he's free farming.
Yeah, I don't know why the Sobek's over on this right-hand side. He's losing a lot of farm for free at 6 minutes in. Looking for the kill onto LASBRA, who's low on mana, but LASBRA, not concerned, just continues to walk away. Sibi trying to make something worthwhile out of this rotation.
Sibi's still wasting his time, though. He'll now just start to look again towards this red buff. I'm not even certain that he'll be able to confirm this one, as Sobek, it could still be really difficult.
Greedy from Genetics, though, trying to contest, and now he's under pressure. Kespainify gets the kill. Red buff going down now. Fusify's going to switch to the right-hand side to cover the option now that Sibi's made this rotation. But FaraKrik has just stuck around too long, and Joshy may find the kill. He needs one basic if the pluck connected. Sibi may have just saved his teammate's life.
Joshy isn't done just yet, though. He's still looking for more blood against Sibi and Kespainify. Kespainify, having dropped the Caledonian Boar to confirm the kill onto Genetics, didn't have a way to peel any further for his teammates. And it's crazy to say that the Artemis is the one looking for a peel factor here against Insignem.
I was wondering if this was going to be a permanent lane switch from Optimus Gang, but it doesn't look like that's the case at all. Sibi now making his rotation back to this right-hand side. Zearoe very far up as GetFisher was rotating around the back, but GetFisher not interested in ganking here. Instead, he's trying to secure the blue buff for Sibi. Zearoe, though, is in the area against 3 now.
This could be dangerous for Zearoe, but quick Cripple Field's going to make sure that Fusify doesn't choose to aggress any deeper. Same can't be said, though, for Kespainify on the opposite side of the map, with 3 members of Optimus Gang looking to defend that solo lane off of Sibi's rotation. Insignem are free to just maintain control of this dual side jungle from an Optimus Gang.
Biggest experience difference right now is the solo laners and the hunters, Joshy and Zearoe, with a lead over their counterparts for various reasons. Insignem as a whole, though, up in golden experience, getting most of these neutral camps and some of Optimus Gang. Genetics misses with the ult, but DeathPanter doesn't. GetFisher falls down. Genetics credited with the kill. 6-1 now are Insignem.
Zearoe gonna catch out the pluck there from Sibi. Sickening Strike, though, won't connect, so no self-sustain is gonna be happening for Sibi anytime soon. And Fisher just not realizing how many members were actually in the area there for Insignem. I think he just thought that he was gonna be having to contest those harpies from DeathPanter at most, and to find 2 other members from Insignem actually right next to him is just a little bit too late.
Well, right now, Optimus Gang just need to hold on. They need to get a couple of levels and farm up safely. Just keep the position where they can. But look at the ward coverage from Insignem so far, Taco. That extra gold they've got, they're really using it on the map to know exactly where Optimus Gang are going to be at any given moment.
And that's exactly what they should be doing, because when you have this much control, you don't let it go for free. Fusify and Kespainify actually could be in a lot of trouble here. Joshy, level 10 already on this Jing way. Yeah,
causing some problems and already nearly stacked with the Devourer's Gauntlets too. Root connects onto Kespainify. That gets the Bee's Bore out as well as Joshy. Airstrikes in for the kill. Fusify out of mana and running out of health too. The rotation from FaraKrik was on the cards, but already DeathPanter is there to cut off the angle and maybe go for a cheeky play over the wall.
But they get Kespainify's beads, they get Kespainify's ultimate, and they're about to get this purple buff yet again. Optimus Gang, they're aware that Insignem are going to be looking for these buffs off their respawn timers, yet no one seems to want to rotate and help out.
No, it doesn't seem to be the case. I think Optimus Gang's heads have just dropped a little bit coming into this now. Sibi being soloed down on this right-hand side. Zearoe just been left in this lane to farm up continuously. And with Sibi's rotation, it put him at a deficit already, even though he did help secure the first kill for Optimus Gang. Gold Fury at 10 minutes in to Insignem, unless Fusify can stop it. No.
Goodbye, Fusify. That's going to be the end of Fusify as we speak. It's just too much to handle. I can appreciate the idea. It's the right mindset in my mind, because when you're already this far behind so early on, what's the worst case scenario? You die again? You've already done that like 3 times now.
GetFisher just trying to run away, and Sibi going to do a good job peeling there, though. But you're right, luckily for Optimus Gang now, Taco, this is a best of 3, and they're not out of this first game yet. It's not over till the Titan falls, honestly. Oh, the F6 button gets hit. 8-1, though, 11 minutes in. Gold Fury already down, as we said. Even the itemization, I mean, just on paper already, it's only first, second items being built on here.
I can look past a gold lead, but what I'm more curious about is just how much of a difference this experience is really funneled into. And that's where things start to get a little bit more devastating for Optimus Gang here, because it's one thing to be behind 4,500 gold 11 minutes in, and yes, that is awful. It is never a fun experience. You're most likely just going to be playing from the deficit or from the back foot and hoping to get the scraps of whatever the enemy team leads you.
LASBRA was nearly caught in an awkward spot then, but gets away as DeathPanter rotated in. Optimus Gang did not want to take the fight there. Sibi making a rotation towards mid yet again. Has to be careful though, because Genetics and crew are still hanging around. Joshy though, on his own on this left-hand side. A little bit too aggressive here, Joshy. Going to be a bit worried about Optimus Gang piling on, and 4 members were in the area.
Joshy and Kespainify doesn't seem to be letting up. He's still playing like he has the rest of his team right behind him, but that's simply not the case. I'm actually surprised that Joshy didn't give chase there with the agility, because he has vision covering his choke points. He can tell that there's no backup coming anytime soon here for Kespainify.
Yeah, 3-level lead and a little bit of crit online as well for Joshy. That's definitely going to make a difference, especially when Kespainify doesn't have full stacks in his Devourer's Gauntlets just yet with how this game's gone. Another Invade the purple buff for the time being is right inside. Optimus Gang will secure their own blue for Sibi, making sure Zearoe can't continue to pressure. But what's this? A surrender vote? That was pretty early there, Taco. I'm kind of surprised by that. I mean, 5k down, they're not out of the game now.
I don't think that Optimus Gang were out of that match by any means. I think that they could have possibly just looked to stalemate things to a later period. I understand that it can be rather difficult whenever you are just constantly watching the enemy team take your jungle off cooldown. But I definitely still feel like there could have been a better responses from Optimus Gang.
This isn't the best Optimus Gang we've seen in the fall split at the moment. When the critical moment, it's not going down well. You guys get to vote for an MVP from Insignem there. Who would you look at? I mean, we got kills in the duo lane, solo kill for DeathPanter, Genetics.
He had some great pulls. That's about all we can work with. With the 12-minute window, I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot of action that took place outside of some oddball picks.
Is a best of 3 though, so maybe Optimus Gang just want to go back to the drawing board, and they really do. Laning phase didn't work out well whatsoever. The team fights, we were a little bit worried about the Artio pick causing them problems.
I think because of how much of an experience gap had already developed between their duo lanes, maybe they felt like there wasn't ever going to be a period of time where they would be able to recover their own duo lane, or at least stalemate the match to a point where the Artemis could become relevant again. Because Jing Wei, when she's 4 levels up on you, she just feels like a better Artemis to begin with.
It's a very good point indeed. Well, enough about our Optimus Gang F6 in there. Congratulations with Signum on that first victory. Can they put it to bed though? We'll go to the desk to break down that very quick game 1 and get into game 2.
Thanks, Hindu. I don't know what you mean about what about that F6. We absolutely got to talk about it. I mean, that's why we're here. Aggro, I mean, this one got away from them very, very quickly, didn't it? And I think Taco was right to highlight genetics.
I agree. I mean, his Sylvanus pulls and just his positioning and the way that he was able to move around the map and affect those invades was really, really critical.
Yeah.
LASBRA on the Erlang. Shen was everywhere. DeathPanter gets a solo kill. But man, Optimus Gang, I mean, I think that loss up against the Poppies, after having lost 2 in a row right before this, and then they lose this one, and no one is having a good time in their lane, then it just kind of caught up to them pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially a team as good as Insignem. They're absolutely going to be able to capitalize if there is any weakness there. And you just got to give some credit to genetics. I mean, he lands the pull, and that's what sets up that first kill for them to find the kill onto Kespainify. He didn't really have anywhere to go. He finds another pull in the Fusify. I don't think they get a kill off of it. It just gets, when it rains, it pours. The Sylvanus was oppressive in lane. I believe DeathPanter found a solo kill in the middle lane too onto FaraKrik. I mean, this game got away from them very, very quickly, and it sounds like even Chad agreed that a large part of that was genetics. They select him as the MVP for his Sylvanus play, and I got to agree with y'all on this one. I mean, yeah, this is it. That pull's crazy.
That's absurd. Kespainify, the most slightest bit late on the beads, and you can't even blame him because you're not expecting to get pulled from that distance, and the tracking auto attacks there perfectly from genetics. This game from Insignem was clean, but Optimus Gang, oh no, don't show this one to my mans. Not like that. He gets MVP and he gets that highlight. No, not like that for genetics. He was trying to predict the win siphon, okay, everybody in the jet stream. Like
well, he did get the kill eventually, but you're right. It does look. He
can't stand there, so he has to go in. That's the 1,000 IQ plays.
Well, it is true, right? Where if there's 2 places to be, you make them both bad, it does work out for your team. You don't always want to come in and ult just for that point, but you're right. Things got away from them